Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the Independent Era 2 Premium Medium tank, the Ignis Purgatio. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Ignis Purgatio. It is the ultimate Assassinate tank. It is an assassin. It wants to be able to get its prey isolated, get in, clip them out, get out. That's what the Ignis Purgatio does, and it is very, very effective at doing it. And it is a hell of a lot of fun to play. I love playing this vehicle, always have done since it came out. But it's one of those tanks that not everybody is going to get on with. Why? Because, well, the penetration is a little bit low, and by a little bit I mean it's quite low at 280 on the standard, and it's about 360 on the premium. I do run full standard because a lot of the times in Era 2, if 280 penetration isn't enough to go through a tank, 360 isn't quite enough to go through either. So I just decided to run full standard rounds, so I don't have any issues where I run out of one type of ammunition and have an awkward amount of the second type, because that happens quite often, only having 100 rounds. And also, I like making silver, and I feel like I can make do with 280 pen. And as you'll see in the replays, I definitely can make do with 280 pen. But the thing is, this tank is going to be all about how you play it, and it's not going to be for everyone, because it takes a lot of knowledge of how and where to position yourself, when to go in and clip someone out, and then also when to run away and not to engage. It's all that kind of thing. It's a pretty difficult tank to play and get perfectly right, but when you do, it is ultimately super satisfying, and that's why I do enjoy playing the Ignis. So, with the Ignis Purgatio, with the build that I run, I've got a 71.5 km/h top speed, with a 25.3 km/h reverse speed, a 940 horsepower engine, which is 34.56 horsepower per ton ratio, which means you get there very, very easily. Your mobility is absolutely fantastic on this vehicle. You got a 10% internal fire chance, which is on the low end of fire chances, but if you do get penned through the upper plate, it does like catching fire, so be careful of that in the Ignis. We've got 41.8 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, which means it does turn on its tracks very, very quickly. Ground resistances don't count for anything really in Cold War at this point, as they are very, very low, so they don't affect you whatsoever. You've got 226 meters of still concealment with 245 meters of on-the-move concealment in the Ignis, which means you are very, very nice in terms of your camo, meaning that you can get in before they realise it, and then clip them out, and then get out, and basically make it very, very difficult for you to get spotted, making you be able to make those assassin plays relatively easily. You got 526 meters of view range, which means you can spot for yourself pretty easily too in the Ignis. You got 37.55 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed, which means the turret rotation is slower than the tracks, so be careful of that. The turret traverse can be a bit of a pain at times when you are going around people. You're going to probably see that in some of the replays, as it doesn't quite keep up with the enemy tank that you're trying to fire at if you do go around them at close range. You've got 0.6 accuracy during rotation, which is pretty damn good. With a 2.58 accuracy during movement, though, that's pretty poor, meaning that when you are on the move in this vehicle, the accuracy isn't that great, and generally the aim circle is rather large. But when you turn in the tank, it's really not that bad at all. You've got 6 degrees of gun depression, which means that you can be a bit inflexible on the ridgeline at times, but you're also a very, very small target, and you're a very, very small tank, so it doesn't really actually feel that bad on the Ignis. You've got a 1.63 second aim time, so even if your aim circle does become rather large while on the move, as soon as you stop, it doesn't take long to aim in whatsoever in the Ignis Purgatio. With a 0.3 accuracy at 100 meters means you're also fairly accurate. Although, when you're firing this gun and aiming down the sights at range, and you just hold the trigger down with the auto-loading capacity of the Ignis, that almost makes it like a machine gun firing those rounds very, very quickly in a 0.5 second intraclip reload, it can miss a lot of shots, and the shells just go all over the place, and a lot of the time that's because it feels like the suspension is moving on the Ignis, which is making your gun go in weird ways, meaning you can be pretty inaccurate if you just auto-fire like that. You have a 31.5 second reload on this clip, which has 20 shots per clip, with that 0.5 second intraclip reload, which means that once you've dumped your clips, you are out of the game for a wee while, but you can get it reloaded, then you become absolutely deadly, as you've seen so far in this replay, and you have 80 GMs on top of that too, which can negate some of the reload time that you have with this vehicle. 280 pen on the standard APDS rounds, which are very low. 360 pen on the premium APFS DS rounds is still pretty damn low, to be fair, with 100mm of penetration on the HE that you're just generally never going to use. You got 150 damage on the standard rounds as well, with 1280 meters a second shell velocity on the standard APDS rounds and 130 meters a second shell velocity on the premium APFS DS round. And as you can see with that first game, we did finish with 9.7k damage, the 1914 base XP. Pretty damn nice game for the tank there. But yeah, the shell velocity is pretty good on this vehicle, but you don't often really feel the need to go, oh, the rounds are fast or slow on this vehicle, because a lot of the time you are the assassin. You're not firing at range, you're just going in going, hello there, and then going to clip someone out pretty close up. The only time you're a little bit further away is when you're getting ready to launch those ATGMs out of this vehicle. Which, speaking of ATGMs, you have a 24.75 second reload for that ATGM, which is long, but then you've also got to factor in the fact that you've got a very large clip as well, with 600mm of penetration, which means that you have a good solid amount of penetration on this ATGM. They are very, very slow at 250 meters of max speed on the ATGM speed, which can be a bit annoying, because especially if you fire them at range, like you've just seen against that Object 120, it takes it a little bit to get there, and you can feel that slight little bit of pain in how long it's taking. But on the whole, it hits for 700 damage, which just adds to the ability to just go in and assassinate people, because you hit them with the ATGM and then go in and clip them out, and yeah, the Ignis can be pretty dirty for that. You do have a 150% silver bonus on this vehicle as well, which is on the lower end of silver bonuses, but since it's an Era 2 Premium, you still do make a good solid amount of money with it. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment to get those sorts of statistics on the Ignis Purgatio? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, Deadeye, Camouflage Net, Gun Stabilizer, Traction System. Traction system to get up to that 71 kilometers an hour top speed, which I'll hit pretty easily so I can do the zoomies. We've got the gun stabilizer to get the accuracy during movement and rotation down as low as possible so that this aim circle is not blooming out that much while we're doing exactly what we're about to do, which is assassinate, you know. The camouflage net to get the best out of the camo so that we can assassinate and we can sneak up on people and before they even know what's happened, clip them out. But that's the same with having the camouflage expertise and the silent driving. The silent driving keeps our camo down while we're on the move as well, with all three gun perks to make sure that this gun is as good as possible, because it can be a royal pain if you don't help it, so you really do want to help it out. And Deadeye for the memes. We take Deadeye for the memes, so that, because, well, generally because we've got 20 shells in the clip. Those 20 shells are going to hit very, very quickly, which means increasing my chance of doing module damage by 6% is always a possible welcome feat to do, but you could quite easily swap that out for rapid aim, as the touch reverse is slow on this vehicle and it's nice to help that out if you can. So as you've seen in the second replay, we have the best driving skills in the universe. It is what it is. We like crashing into rocks, but we've managed to get 5.2k damage so far. And there's still quite a few tanks on the enemy team left, and currently it's even at 9-9. We see the M60A2 in the back. It'd be great to get rid of that guy because he is going to be fairly deadly to us if he decides to pen us with this HE. But we see the ELC even SS12, Mr. Pedro. It's time for pest control as we get rid of Mr. Pedro there with our clip. And as soon as we got rid of that guy, we were ready to reload straight away so that we can get the next clip in and get after whatever our next target is. And you're seeing what the Ignis wants to be doing. It really wants to be getting in, assassinating, getting out, picking the target, knowing what your target is going to be, and then just executing the kill. So we see Mr. Pedro number 2 here. Just seeing what my reload's going to be. I can't ATGM at this close range because of the minimum arming distance, which for this ATGM is 100 meters. We get after this guy though, and we are clipping out while on the move. Well, now we've got to be careful because naturally, with being this close to him and he's turning, we'll end up missing a lot of shots, and if we miss too many shots, we're going to run out of ammo like that. But we hit him with the ATGM. Sadly, don't do enough to kill him. But the little love tap does. And get out of my game, Mr. Pest. Pest control at your service. So we pop smoke. Why? Because the M60A2 is behind that ridge. And I decided, while I'm reloading, I can go hide in my smoke and stay away from the M60A2. Now I'm quite close to reloading, though. I can go after him. But in fact, the hunter becomes the hunted, as the M60A2 was coming after us. But he gets a big shot into the Bagel Panzer, which means we know he's reloading. So we get the perfect opportunity to get in and clip him out, putting us on to 10,242 damage with that 85 assistance damage. And there was the last enemy on the enemy team, and that was the T92LT, and he is gone. And we're finished with the epic victory. 5 kills, the 10,242 damage, 85 assistance, good amount of silver there for 284. Ace tanker, the high caliber, with the 1840 base XP. Really nice game there for the Ignis Purgatio, which, like I say, is a really fun tank. It's one that, again, you really do have to know what you're doing. You have to know where and what you can pen with 280 penetration, because it is very low. And you also have to recognise what situations are good for going in on a tank and what situations are not good for going in on a tank. Because there'll be quite often where you look at a vehicle, go, yes, I'm just going to YOLO it and clip it out. And that's the best way to die straight away, because you'll see it, go, yeah, and then YOLO in and find there's 4 people there. They kill you. You might kill that one tank, but they'll kill you. And then, you know, real good for your team right at that point. So you always want to be trying to get the best impact you can get in the game. And this tank really is all about recognising those situations where this vehicle is going to be useful. So I'm just keeping my eye on the little road here as they're coming up the hill. And I notice, okay, that's a Type 7040. I'm not going to be able to do anything against that guy if he comes in too easily. But in fact, he has. So we get the tracking shot. And this is just, we retrack him. He took off 470 damage of our hit points, or more than that a little bit, really. We did his whole 2.3k HP, just like that. That's Ignis Purgatio, right there. If you catch someone out, it's filth. Absolute filth. He had absolutely no idea. I pulled back so I could get safe, so I wasn't going to get spotted, and he had no idea I was coming, and then we just clipped him out. We're so close to be able to get the shot into the VADs there. I was really hoping that I might be able to get the shot into track and pen him there, and then I could clip out another tank. That would have been great, because it is all about maximising what you're doing with your ammo count as well, because 100 shots of ammunition is really not much, and you can run out very easily in this vehicle and not do much because you'll miss a fair few shots. But when you're close range like this against something like a Magak 3, who I can pen through the upper plate with 280 penetration, well, we're going to do it, and we take nearly 2k of that guy's hit points as well, as the BZT finishes him off too, which is lovely. So we're up to 4,000 damage with the 1 kill. We've got the ATGM switched to, because if you want to switch to your multi-weapon system or switch to your ATGMs, you have to hold A, and that will switch to that next round, or whatever your reload button is, I believe it is, for the multi-weapon system. But we see the guys in the distance, we fire the ATGM, we don't get spotted as we fire that ATGM at the foot cruiser. Aim for that back end. Why did we aim for the back end there specifically? Because we could have aimed for another turret and hoped for an ammo rack. Well, I went for that back end so I could set him on fire. And it actually did set him on fire. We're up to 6,000. Oh, that's so satisfying. 6,000 damage on the dot. I feel like I'm going to ruin it now. And we're definitely going to ruin it, as we launched the ATGM at the M103A2, hitting for 730 damage there. Keeping our eye on what is going on the little ledge, as there is a Magak 3 and a AMX-30B to Brennus over there. We don't want those guys to come up, and especially a Brennus, because anything with an autocannon like the Brennus can be very, very deadly to the Ignis Purgatio, as they will just murder you. Same as what a Weasel 1MK will do to you. The Weasel 1MK, same as the Brennus, if they're firing the autocannon, will bounce off your upper plate because of the angle. They'll just ricochet. So it's one of those things you always still want to try and turn your armor to them. But a lot of the time, they will be playing in well, not the Brennus, but the Weasel will be playing in a similar position to you probably. So you've got to be very, very careful of where you position yourself, and be very mindful of where the Weasel 1MK can end up coming from, as they can clip you out. But like I've done to a couple of them already in this vehicle, if you manage to turn your armor towards them, you'll still lose a load of hit points, but because of your clip as well, you can actually chase them down and clip them out, which is hilarious. And whenever I actually finally get round to doing my shorts and sorting those out and get those re-uploaded to the channel, you'll see a couple of those, which is lovely for the Ignis. But yeah, we're up to 7.2k damage with 600 assistance damage so far with the 2 kills. We got a few shots into that BZT-70 that was at the G9 position. And now we're in that awkward, I've got to wait for my reload section. I'm keeping my eye on what's going on behind me. And there we go. There's Mr. Brennus. When there was no one else left on the hill, that's what I fully expected to happen. And that's why I've been keeping my eye on him by looking over the buildings. Now we're nearly reloaded. We're ready to go and help our Is it a T-80 or a T-72? It's a T-80. We're trying to help our T-80 out, but, well, he didn't need our help and shut down that Brennus. We get the ATGM out towards the BZT-70, and oh boy, it went into that back end. That made him panic and drive backwards, which gave me an easier shot in there. We managed to shut down the BZT-70. The VT2's out in an easy position for us to farm, and that's exactly what we do to that poor guy as well. We're up to 9.1k damage with 1280 assistance damage, the 4 kills, and we see our next target, the T-72M1. Now, he will be a bit awkward with 280 pen. We really have to have his side and rear against the front of a T-72M1. If it was a Ural, we'd go through. An M1, not so easily. So we see the guy, fire the ATGM, absolutely fluff it. Well played me, the best aim in the universe. I think, okay, I'm going to go over and try and get round him so that my T-80 has good shots into his side or front if he wants to. So now we're around the side. I'm trying to track him, which I get, but sadly for me, he repairs. His front is against me now. I can't pen the front of that guy very easily. He tracks me, but thankfully, because I still have loads of hit points, we managed to get round him and finish him off with another shot. Now, there's only 3 tanks left on the enemy team. There's the heavy tank, the TD at J0 and G0, and the light tank at C4. And I'm not going to get anywhere near that light tank at C4. I feel like he'll probably die to my friends that were already over there. So what we're going to do is try and get over towards this T10B and finish him off if we can, because that's really the only place that I felt like I was possibly going to get any more damage, as you see with the T92 there getting shut down by the AMX 30B2. But this is where the mobility of the Ignis is nice, having that 71 kilometers an hour. It's why we've helped it out, because for Era 2, if you don't help it out with the traction system, it is a little bit slow. So it's nice to be able to just buff up that speed. And since you've got the fantastic 34.56 horsepower per ton ratio, you're getting there. So we're chasing the T10B with this Weasel. I'm like, the Weasel will struggle with the T10B unless he gets his rear. And so that means that we get the opportunity to get in there and shut down Mr. T10B. And we secure our 6th kill of that game. Finished with the victory. We'll come top of the team with 6 kills, 2,013 base experience. With that 11,027 damage, 310,000 silver as well. Nice amount to get. The Ace Tanker, the Top Gun, the High Caliber, with that base XP of 2013. A very, very nice game there for the Ignis Purgatio, which, like I say, it is the ultimate Assassino tank. You want to be able to get in, clip someone out, get out. That's what the tank does. It assassinates, and it is a fantastic assassin. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success.